So again today Dr. Zarmeen Shahid and I am today again here with Dr. Zara Teki to discuss the second part to have a second session on OET writing. I think this session is more important than the last one because these are the things that we are going to the things that we are going to cover in this session are the most important ones, and the common mistakes that happen in writing part are usually related to these topics that we are going to cover today. So we left out language. The language is consistent of in OET. It is consistent of grammar and tenses with respect to each portion of the letter, and this grammar and the tenses portion is a whole separate part than the topics that we are going to cover today. We tried to include this part in our session today as well, but the session was getting too long, and we thought that we should cover this part in another session that will be a little shorter than the sessions that we are having today or that we had last week. So things that we are going to cover will be these: the countable and uncountable nouns, determiners, confusing pair of words, signal words and phrases, passive voice, collocations, capitalization, abbreviation, and punctuation. So let's start. So there are two type of nouns in the English language. Most of us know it, but not like this. We may have studied it before as well, but this is just a revision. The two type of nouns that we have are countable and uncountable nouns. Countable nouns are usually for example, a complaint or a condition. We can count them. That's the difference. And the uncountable nouns are advice or damage. It is when we are talking about these countable and uncountable nouns. um when It is very important to understand that when a noun is countable and it is singular, it must have a determiner with it. We are going to discuss what determiner is and how we use it with a noun. Just look at these and just keep this in mind when we are studying the countable and uncountable nouns and how to use the determiners with them. If a noun is countable and singular rather than plural, it must have a determiner. For example, for a countable noun, we same is for condition, bed, floor, and risk. For example, here is a sentence for you: patient will need regular checking of blood sugar level. This is a grammatically incorrect incomplete sentence. The correct version should be: the patient will need regular checking of her blood sugar level. Her is a determiner and we are using it with blood sugar level. We are going to discuss more about this, how to use things like these: her, the, and these are different determiners that we are going to tell you how to use them. Then when we are talking about uncountable nouns, they can't be counted. They are either present or absent, but they are never present in the particular number. Importantly, uncountable nouns don't need to have a determiner with them. Sometimes a determiner can be used with them in particular situations. We are going to tell you how to use them in those situations. For example, uncountable nouns can be health, progress, information, advice, equipment. These cannot be counted in numbers, hence they are called uncountable nouns. Okay, so here's a tip for you. If you have to work out all by yourself whether a noun is countable or uncountable noun, just ask yourself, can I have two or three of these in a patient? Can you have two or three conditions in a patient? Yes, you can. So condition is a countable noun, but you cannot have two or three progresses in a patient, or you cannot have two to three informations. You can have two to three pieces of information, but you cannot have two to three information. So just ask yourself, can I have two to three of these? uh, that should answer your question of whether this noun that you are using is countable or uncountable, and how to use whether you should use a determiner with it or not. Okay, so determiners are there. These are four types of determiners that are usually used with nouns. First of them is article. This can be a, an, and the. So these articles, these are the most common mistakes that happen in the OET writing. These are very easy to use once you practice them and know where to use them. But these are also the most common things that are missed as well. So we are going to discuss this in detail further as well. So the next one are possessive pronouns, his or her. Like we saw here in the example, the patient will need regular checking of her blood sugar level. Her is a possessive pronoun. That means that we are talking about her or his. She's possessing it. Qualifiers this and that, and then quantifiers any or one. So, three rules about determiners. Um, okay, so one thing I would like to follow when you're writing in the letter, follow these three simple rules to avoid leaving out determiners by mistake or using them incorrectly. Do not just use the determiners here and there by yourself. There is a proper rule how to use them. These three rules are going to help you how to properly use them and not leave them out by mistake. For number one is use a determiner for all singular countable nouns. Singular countable nouns, I have a list of nouns and the correct way to use them with some examples as well. I'm going to send this out in the WhatsApp group. You can have a look at that after this session as well. This will help you. The words that are used in them are the common words that we use in the OET writing. So have a look at them after this session. You will know how to you will have a good idea how to use nouns that are singular and countable. The second rule is use any determiner for uncountable nouns except a, an, or one. Why is that? Because these determiners mean singular by definition. That a means a, an, and one. All three of them are indicating that the word that we are using is singular, which is why we cannot use them for nouns that we can't count. When we cannot count a thing. For example, we cannot count, here is example of uncountable nouns, health, progress. For example, we are talking about progress. We cannot say a progress. We can say a bed, but we cannot say a progress. So do not use a, an, or one for any noun that we cannot count. Okay. Then the third rule is if you are not sure whether a noun must have a determiner or not, just use the while referring to them for the second time onwards. The is a very useful determiner because it can be used for both countable and uncountable nouns. This is just a general rule. These are just general rules to help you out if you cannot think of anything else. So, for example, when you are using the for take a word here. For example, we are talking about ward. So we have talked about psychiatry ward in the first sentence. Then when we are talking about the same ward, like I did here, the same ward, the patient was admitted in psychiatry ward. The ward was very unhygienic. This is how we use the when we are talking about a certain thing the second time, when we are mentioning it the second time. This is making that word, that specific word, very specific, that we know what we are talking about, we know what that word is, so we use the article the. I hope that this is clear. Okay. Some specific situations, um, Definite article is used when referring to something specific. The same thing when we are talking about the, it is very important to include this article to signify the information, that this is very specific that we are talking about. For example, let's take a look at the first sentence. She was on micrognon 30 for previous 5 years. She was on micrognon 30 for the previous 5 years. The previous 5 years, this is making it very specific. Let's take a look at the third example. Mr. Roberts has been a resident at our nursing home for past 2 years. Mr. Roberts has been a resident at our nursing home for the past 2 years. The past years. These are very specific because we are talking about the past 2 years of his life that he spent in that nursing home. So this is making those past 2 years very specific. Based on above information, I believe the patient needs urgent admission to the hospital. Just a second. Okay. Okay. Based on above information, I believe the patient needs urgent admission to hospital. Okay. So now we have to add to the in this sentence. Based on the above information, this is making that information very specific. We have talked about the information before and we are talking about it again. Then we will say, based on the above information, I believe the patient needs urgent admission to hospital. Okay, if we have talked about the admission to the hospital before, we can add the before the hospital as well. I believe the patient needs urgent admission to the hospital. So explanation, it says there all the expressions above are referring to a specific period of time, so a definite article is required. We are talking about a specific period of their lives, the specific time of their lives that they spend either at the nursing home or the medication they took for the last 3 years. So we use the definite article. The is the definite article. Okay. So now we are talking about special usage of articles. There are some situations where you should always use a definite article, and there are some situations where the indefinite article is required. Understanding these rules can greatly reduce the number of very minor errors that we do in the writing. So study these very carefully. For example, when we are talking about body parts, we are definitely going to be talking about body parts in our OET letter. So for example, the definite article the should be used when we are referring to the body part. Pain in the left groin, pain in the stomach, that's a very specific thing. Body parts is not very difficult to remember whenever you are talking about any body part, and the intestine, the left groin, the hand, the eye, the left eye, the right eye. So we are going to have to use the definite article the before any body part that we are mentioning. The next is the name of diseases. Do not use an article for the name of diseases or conditions. For example, the patient is suffering from high blood pressure. Recently, the patient has complained of headache. Now, we cannot. This looks very odd if you are just read the sentence out by yourself. The patient is suffering from the high blood pressure. This is very. I think most of you must know this, that we cannot use the or any article before any condition or any name of the disease. Next is same. Whenever we are using the word same, we have to use the definite article the before that word. For example, she has a she has a family history of the same disease that had been controlled by risperidone. The same, when we are using the word the same, that means that we have talked about this condition, or the patient had the condition before, we have talked about it, we have mentioned it before. That's why we are using the definite article here to be very specific. The next example is the children were treated by the same dentist. This is being very specific. We I gave you this example before as well, how to use the when we are talking about something that we mentioned before. This is just sort of like that. Then articles with gerunds. A gerund is the ing form of a verb which takes on the grammatical function of a noun. It can be the subject or object in a sentence. Usually no article is required with gerund. Okay, so usually this is very confusing to know what a subject or object or a verb is. Just remember, whenever you are using the ing form of the word, like smoke becomes smoking, you can not use any article before this. For example, on review today, Mr. Walker has reduced smoking from 20 to 10 cigarettes per day. You cannot say has reduced the smoking. You cannot use any article before the ing form. For example, the patient was advised to stop drinking. You cannot say the patient was advised to stop the drinking. You cannot add the before the drinking part or any ing form. Articles and nominalizations. Okay, so what is nominalization? It is a process where verbs can be turned into a noun phrase. So, what's a noun phrase? For example, the patient sucked his thumb until he was 5. Becomes, this sentence can become, the patient had a habit of thumb sucking until the age of 5. He was 5 becomes the age of 5. Of age of 5. The patient is complaining of discomfort during the passage of urine. This is very you must think that this is a very difficult thing to remember, or this is very a particular thing to remember. But when you are using if you are using making the sentence in a correct way, you know how to use convert words like this until he was 5 to this phrase the age of 5. If you are not using it correctly, the sentence becomes very awkward and weird, and whenever you say it out loud to yourself, it will sound awkward and weird. So maybe that can help you figure out how to use this type of normalization. Okay, sometimes normalization can become necessary. For example, the excessive drinking of alcohol will adversely affect your health. Excessive drinking of alcohol, you cannot not use nominalization in this. You are using excessive drinking of alcohol. Drinking of alcohol, whenever you are using of between two words, it becomes nominalization. Okay, so normalization, important thing about this is that it creates the tone that is required by the examiners, the formal tone, and it allows you to summarize details from the case notes in simpler words, or in making very using too much information to summarize it in the form of smaller phrases. Okay, so there are some confusing pair of words in letter writing that usually people are making mistakes in. These pair of words are so it is very important that you study these words very thoroughly, because these are very common mistakes and they are very much avoidable if you study them correctly and use them correctly. So let's take a look at them. Okay, so first one is complaint or complain. Where to use complaint and where to use complain? Complain is a verb. Just forget what a verb and a noun is. Let's take a look at the examples. When we are using complaint as a verb, the patient complained of severe headache. And then when you are using the word complaint, the patient presented with a complaint of severe headache. Just remember, when you cannot use different forms of you can use different forms of a word, for example, first form, second form, and third, the complaint, you cannot add ed when you are using the word complaint, but you can use the form of the word, the second form, the patient complained of severe headache. This is very important to remember, that the two main prepositions used with complain are complain of and complain about, when you are using the word complain, not with the t. For example, Mr. Gilbert presented with complaints of headache, giddiness, and vomiting. And when you are using a singular when we're talking about a singular complaint, Mr. Gilbert presented with a complaint of dyspnea. This is when we are talking about a singular noun, complaint of dyspnea, we are using the article a. This is another use of the article a with a noun, that is countable. So this is the use of the noun form of complaint. You cannot use the word complain here, because that will be grammatically incorrect. For let's take a look at further examples. The patient complains of diarrhea and her temperature is high. Again, when you can use different forms of verbs when you are using the word complain like this. If we are talking about in the past sentence, in the same sentence, the patient complained of diarrhea and her temperature is high. So we can we can use different forms of this word, the verb can have different forms. It can be complained, complains, but we cannot have different forms of the word complaint. We cannot add ed at the end of the complaint, so that becomes a noun. The patient presented with a complaint of diarrhea, because this was one complaint and it was a singular noun, so we added an article before this. The patient presented with a complaint of diarrhea, again the same, showing that an article is required. He presented to my office on 23/03/2008 complaining of severe pain. Now, again, we are changing the form. When we can change the form of the word, that is the verb, and we cannot use the complaint word here of severe pain associated with the lower left polar. I hope this is clear. Then, advise and advice. Just read this out loud. When we are using the s advise, just say to yourself advise. It sounds like z advise. And then we are when we are using the c in advice, it comes out as advice. This will help you figure out where to use the advise word and where to use the advice word. This is just a trick that I used to remember it by. Now, when we are usually using the word advise, we can as this is a verb, we can change it form. For example, we can say advised, but we cannot say advised, because that is a noun and this will be grammatically incorrect. This is how I used to remember it, that I can say advised. So advise is a verb, and as I cannot say advised, that is a noun. So that prevented me from using these words incorrectly. For example, we advise patient on how to take their medication, and then when advice is used as a noun, this will be used as we give advice or provide advice to patients on how to take their medication. Okay. Let's look at some examples as well. It would be greatly appreciated if you could make a visit to this family and advise his parents regarding the recommended vaccines for both children. This is the verb form. Now, if you can change its form, if we are talking about it in the past sentence, you can say he advised his parents regarding the recommended vaccine for both children. This is just an example that you can change its form. So this is the verb use of the word. Please advise the patient on how and when to take their medication. Now when you are using it in the past sentence, you can say he advised the patient on how and when to take their medication. Now when we are using the noun version of this word, we can say I gave some advice to the patient regarding her condition, or you can say I gave advice to the patient regarding her medication. I hope that this is clear, how when to use advise and when to use advice. Okay, suggest or recommend or advise. When to use these words. Um, these are commonly used in referral letters, especially in the introduction part of the letter, to give out the information about the patient. The word suggest and recommend cannot be followed by words like him or her. For example, let's see here. I suggested that he see you next day. You cannot say I have suggested him. You cannot use this article him, use this word him or her after the word suggest. You can just say I suggested that he see you next day. But you have to and for example, I advise him to see you next day. You have to use this word him after you say the word advise. Okay, I'm repeating it again. The words suggest and recommend, you cannot use the words him or her after it. Let's take a look at another example. I suggested that she return in the morning as she required further blood test and assessment. I suggested that. You cannot say I suggested her. Then again, I advised her. You should use her or him after advice, but not after suggest. Here is an example of the word recommend. I recommended that he rest for 5 days. You cannot say I recommended him. This is a very common mistake that we usually do. I suggested him, I recommended him, or the doctor recommended him, or the GP suggested him. You just if you have to use the ratta here, uh, don't use him don't use him or her after these two words, suggest and recommend. This will be grammatically incorrect. This is a very minor mistake that we all make. Okay, then we have explain and tell. Explain cannot be followed by a pronoun or a noun without the preposition. For example, I explained them that unsuccessful conception was not unusual in their case. I explained to them. We are talking to, we are explaining this to them. This is correct usage. We cannot just leave that out. I explained to them that unsuccessful conception was not unusual in their case. Or you can use the word I told them. You cannot say I told to them. You can say I explained to them, or you can say I told them that unsuccessful conception was not unusual in their case. For example, another one here is I have already explained to the couple, explained to the couple basic advice regarding conception. Or you can use I have already told the couple. Whenever you are using the word explain, you have to use to. I have already explained to, or you can just say I have already told the couple. I hope this is clear to you. Then request as a verb or as a noun. So again, when I told you, when we are using the word as a verb, we can change its form. For example, when we are using the word request as a verb, the patient requested painkillers. We can change its form. So this is a verb form. And when we are using the request as a noun, we have to use this word here, for. For example, the patient made a request for painkillers. It's a noun, it's a specific thing. Made a request for painkillers. We have to use for after this. For example, take a look at here as well. Mr. Martin requested new dentures, or you can use Mr. Martin made a request for new dentures. This is a very minor and very common mistake. How to use request as a verb or as a noun. Whenever you're using it as a noun, always used for after it. Okay, moving on. Affect and effect. Affect when is a verb. Again, its form can be changed, so it's a verb. The patient has not been affected by the treatment. Effect is a noun, and its example is the treatment has had no effect. Again, the best thing to remember it by is that whenever you make using affect in a sentence, just keep this in mind, that can just ask yourself, if I have to write this sentence in a different form. For example, if I have in a different tense. For example, if I have to write it in the past tense, can this its form be changed? The patient has not been affected by the treatment. Just remember it by this simple rule. If the word can change its form, it's a verb, and the verb form of these two words is the affected. Just you can just use a ratta here, the famous Pakistani ratta here. Affect. Let's take a look at the examples. He has also been affected by cataract for the past 3 years. The side effects of this medication are unknown. You cannot use the ed form of the word here, so just remember it like this. Effect cannot be phrased as affected or effecting. Only the word with a in the start, affected, can used as affecting, or affect as a verb, just simple verb. Now history. Whenever we are talking about the history of the patient, and we are gonna be talking about the history of the patient, because case notes are all about the history of the patient that we are explaining to the person that we are writing the letter to. History is always present, it's there all the time. It can never be the past, as you cannot change it. Therefore, you need to use simple present tense, not past tense, when you are using this expression. Whenever you're talking about the history of the patient, it's a present thing, you cannot change it. So we never ever use the recent letters that we received for correction had this mistake. You cannot use the past tense in whenever we are talking about the history of the patient. For example, patient has George has no known allergies. George has a seafood allergy. Just a simple example of using the plural and singular form of allergy. Then if we have to use the adjective allergic, we can use allergic to. uh, This is just an extra piece of information here. Allergic to seafoods, or you can just say seafood allergy. Let's take a look at this example. In addition, he has a known allergy to seafood, or you can say he is known to be allergic. You cannot say he was allergic because this is something that is present. You cannot change it. Regarding his medical history, he has an allergy, or you can say he is allergic to penicillin, but you cannot say he had an allergy to penicillin because he is having it right now. If you give him penicillin again, he is going to have an allergic reaction. I hope that this is clear, because this is a very common mistake that I noticed in the letters that we received. Okay, signal words and phrases. Um, what are the signal words and phrases? These are the common phrases that link sentences together so that the information is flowing smoothly and is very easy to read. Just take the hint, signal words. It gives out the information that here I recommended that you I am going to recommend something, or my main concern is, you are emphasizing on something. My main concern is, for example, we are going to say, my main concern is that he might be having an extradural hematoma. So this is some we are putting emphasis on something. We are diverting the attention of the reader towards something that is very important and is very concerning. So let's take a look at these. When we are talking about additional information, use the phrases like moreover. You may have people that sent us letters may have noticed that we have added word like these in their letters. Moreover, also, in addition, apart from this, or furthermore. Whenever we are talking about something additional in this, we are adding to the information that we have already given out, we use these words, and it is very important to use these words, because these words makes the letter these phrases makes the letter more easy to read, and more organized, you can say. So when we are advising when we are advising something, I recommend that you I recommend that you start him on some medication, or you can use, it is important to note that, or please ensure that. You can use phrases like this when you are talking about something contrasting, two different pieces of information that are contrasting each other. Despite the fact, for example, you are using the word, we are going to take a look at the examples for all of these. Let's just take a quick look at them. You can have another look when we put this up. We put the recording of this session in the WhatsApp group. You can take a look at these again as well, because we cannot discuss them one by one here. We are gonna have some we are gonna take a look at the example of some important one of these. When we're talking about location, you can say initial examination at my clinic, or during hospitalization, or on examination. When we are talking about the order, for example, when we have a very large history, when we have to tell about, firstly he presented with, or secondly, when we have very large piece of information, 1 2 3 4, but you can just organize them like this: firstly, secondly, thirdly, or finally. Or you, for example, on his first presentation, on his final visit, or his third visit, th- uh, like that. When we're talking about result, as a result, therefore, consequently, for this reason. When we're talking about sympathy, when we are showing that we are feeling for this patient, we are feeling sympathy for this patient. Unfortunately, his surgery had some complications, for example. We can use unfortunately like this. Subject: based on the test results regarding her medical history in terms of her social history, we are explaining the subject of the next sentence by writing these phrases. Based on the test results, we are explaining in the next sentence the test results. So we are announcing it like this. Her medical history shows the risk factors include, treatment to date includes. So we are announcing what we are going to talk about in the next sentence to make it more clear what we are talking about. Then when we are talking about time, this is especially important when we are starting the body paragraphs, or when we are talking about different visits of the patient to the doctor. On review today, on consultation today, on 190810. Okay, one thing I noticed in your letters is that when we're talking about today's last consultation of the patient, for example, if the consultation today is 27th, 27/05 2021. So patient had a last consultation today. You do not have to write on today's consultation on 27/05 2021. We have already mentioned the date before. You do not have to write the date again if you using the word today. Okay. At that time, or recently, over the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, this is just time stamping the sentence, how to use the time. Okay, so when we are using the word as well as, she suffers from edema as well as bladder incontinence. When we're using the word as a result of, Master Shane was admitted with acute meningoencephalitis as a result of complication following mumps. These are very important phrases that helps us make a complicated sentence and organize two pieces of information that if we do not use these phrases, we have to write in separate sentences. For example, we have to use she suffers from edema, then full stop. She also suffers from bladder incontinence and only tolerates fluids. So this is as well as is being used to combine these two pieces of information in a single sentence. There are further examples of these as well. I think it will take a very long time to review all of these. Let me just explain very quickly some important one of these, and you can have a look at them again on the recording of this session. Okay, apart from this, she looked very anxious and was having trouble sleeping. Apart from this, no abnormalities were found in rectal, cardiovascular, and respiratory examination. This is a very common and very useful phrase. Besides that, apart from these, can be used in this alternatively as well. Means the same thing. Consequently, therefore, hence, for this reason. These four words can be used like this in the sentence. When we have talked about a certain thing, for example, the depth of the periodontal pocket was 3.4 mm. Consequently, he has undergone extensive treatment. You can use therefore, hence. This is showing the result of the thing that we previously mentioned. This is the result heading that we discussed before. These four words can show that we are talking about the result of the thing that we discussed before, that this is the result of this. Next, in order to, in addition to just adding information to the previous information that you have given out, just adding more information but making it more organized. Please note, to emphasize on something, this is used to emphasize on something. Please note that he has an allergic reaction to nuts, or he is allergic to nuts. Okay, so let's take a break of 5 minutes, and we will move on to the next part of this session at 9:50.
Hi everyone. Let's start up with the passive voice. But before going towards the passive voice sentences, I would like to tell you about the basic concept. Okay, we'll just go through it for once. So the most simple sentence structure in the English language is, as we all know, is a noun plus verb. If the noun is doing the action described by the verb, the noun is known as subject. We all know that. For example, the doctor consulted. So here in this example, the doctor is the subject of this sentence.
Um, I think there is some connection problem. Give us 1 minute to sort this out.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So if the noun is doing the action described by the verb, the noun is known as subject, as I told you. So here the sentence that is, the doctor consulted. So doctor is the subject of this sentence. So if the action described the verb is being done to someone or something, the recipient of the action is known as object. Okay, so now we'll add this up and we'll add this noun after the verb. The sentence will be, the doctor consulted the patient, and doctor is the subject and the patient is the object. So this sentence structure would be subject plus verb plus object. It was just a review for the basic concept. The main thing is the passive voice. How do we use the passive voice? How we'll change it? So next up is why we use passive voice. Okay, so using the passive voice, actually how it helps us in writing a letter. So how firstly it focus on the object of a sentence by putting it first, and secondly it saves the space by leaving out the subject. That is the noun actually doing the action. Okay, so the first type of sentence structure that we use in English is object plus passive verb plus subject. Okay, so in the basic concept, it was subject, verb plus object. So now we have turned it over, and object is on the top right. Okay, so for example, the patient was consulted by the doctor. So how is helping us in OET? It's that when we put the patient on the first of the sentence, this allows us to focus on the patient more rather than the doctor by putting the patient in the first of the sentence. This is useful in discharge and referral like type of letters because the patient is the most important focus of the letter. Okay. The next is the second sentence structure that we use is the patient was consulted. This is very useful if the person or thing that did the action isn't as important as the person who received the action. In this letter, we whole focus is the patient, so we put the patient first, and by using the passive voice, we achieve our goal. It also allows us to leave out the irrelevant information. For example, another example is the patient was admitted on 27 January 2018 is more concise than the patient was admitted on 27 January 2018 by a doctor. It doesn't really matter who admitted the patient, so it's best to leave this information out here. Okay, so next up is table here in which there is frequently used verbs that we use in OET letter. Okay, admit, advise, and decrease. We'll study that how these change in the present, past, and future tense, and how the passive forms are used in this type of letters. So before going through the table, a very common error that candidates make in their writing task is that you use the active form of verb instead of the passive. Okay, we are putting a passive voice sentence, but we are not changing the verb from active to passive. Will make the sentence odd and it will count it as incorrect. Okay, so any verb can be active or passive, as we all know, depending on whether the noun it refers is doing an action or receiving an action. The passive voice is especially useful in healthcare letters like referral letters I told you. This is because we are mainly writing about a patient, so we'll change the verb into the passive voice. Here is the example that we can see that admit. If we see the active form of the admit is in present, it is admits, then admitted, and in the future will admit. But the passive will be is being admitted, was admitted, will be admitted. You can see the other examples, and I will go through the sentences that I have written for you as an example. So the patient was admitted on Monday. Okay, so here the focus has been shifted towards the patient. The patient is in the first of the sentence. The passive in this sentence, not only the passive voice is used, also the passive verb is used. So the whole focus is on the patient and not on the doctor and who admitted her or him, or who consulted her or him. The next step is the dose will be increased after discharge. And again, the main focus is the dose that we for the patient. And the last one is she is advised to continue the rehabilitation exercises. So in this table, you can see the advice and decrease. For decrease, the same is like for admit, but for advice, we'll change a little bit. Like we'll use is advised, was advised, and will be advised. So next up is collocations. So collocations are actually a group of words that often go together or that are likely to occur together. So when I was preparing for the OET, I really didn't know about the collocation, and they hold a lot of numbers if you put them correctly in the letter. So I'm going to explain you firstly what are the collocations. So collocations are actually part of English vocabulary because native English speakers use them quite often. This also means that you will sound more fluent if you use them. That's why formally they are been used in the letters of OET. So technically, if we explain the collocation, there are two or more words that commonly used together. For example, I took an example from the OET website that they had written is fast food. Fast food is commonly used to refer to the food that can be purchased quickly, eaten while you are walking or working, and usually not healthy. So it is a collocation that we use normally in English vocabulary. So let's look at some of the examples. While using the collocation in OET letters, we use the combination of verbs and prepositions. And to put the correct prepositions is actually the goal to achieve the good marks in OET. So the main collocations, the actually very common ones are here, like to complain of. Okay, so in English vocabulary, we use to report or experience. But if we're writing a healthcare letter, to complain of is more of a word for healthcare letter. It's more significant here. She complained of nausea, vertigo, and trouble sleeping. Or she is complaining of nausea, vertigo, and trouble sleeping. We will not put like she is reporting of nausea, vertigo, or trouble sleeping, because collocation that is being used, complained, is associated with the healthcare vocabulary. The next one is to be associated with. It's to be found together, accompanied by. Okay, sometimes what happens that some other English vocabulary collocation can also be used in healthcare collocations, like accompanied by. Here, the example is the headaches are associated with memory loss and personality changes. But if you want to put the accompanied by here, how would you change the sentence? It will go like the headaches are patient experiencing headaches that is accompanied by memory loss and personality changes. You have to change the sentence a little bit, but the meaning will remain the same. So next step is to be admitted to. So we use in the English vocabulary to be processed for admission or to an institution. Okay, but admitted is the word that is used mainly for the hospitals. Okay, we don't say that we were admitted to college, we were admitted to university, but we say that we'll admitted to the hospital. Mr. Smith, who was admitted to our facility on 3rd April, will go home today. So it explains the collocation that is specifically for the healthcare. So next are more examples of collocations and how we use the collocation in combination of nouns and prepositions. Firstly, we discussed the verb and prepositions. So first up that is used most commonly in the letter is in regards to. So in regards to means in relation to, on the subject of. So in regards to his medical history, or we can say regarding his medical history, the patient has type 2 diabetes and Crohn's disease. Here I would like to explain that why are we using these collocation and determinants as Zameen explained. All of these things that are part of the English grammar and also the OAT letter holds number. If you put collocations in your letter, it will be considered good and you will be granted number for it. If you are putting the right determinants, you will be granted more numbers. If you are putting right determinants with right preposition, but you are not using collocations, you will not be awarded the extra numbers. So keep these things in your mind while writing a letter. So next up is descriptive collocation. Incontinent of urine and feces, that is unable to control urine or stupid. So incontinent is not used in a normal vocabulary. It is something that is specific to the English, specific to the healthcare system. Please give me a minute and just 1 minute. Sorry for the inconvenience. Actually, lecture to go long, and the next class is right here. So I have to end it here with the descriptive qualification. And the next part would be discussed in the third lecture, in which we have already grammar tenses, and we'll put the collocation and capitalization in it. I'm so sorry for the convenience, but I think the next lecture is up for the Marico's Republic. So before going, I just want to say that try giving this lecture, and also please fill up the survey form for us. And if there will be any questions, just write them up, and you can send us on the WhatsApp group, or we can talk about your queries in the next lecture as well. So sorry for the inconvenience.